we'll get to it. What's more important is the butter chicken and jeera rice with our fenugreek naan we have here. All homemade. Description, recipe in the description. Sorry, I'm kind of going fast on this because I want to eat it before it gets cold. And because, one of my favorite things ever. And I whittled it up. But, you'll see when I'm, showing off the food. I used too small of a plate. Anywho, we're gonna dive into this. And I also have, a little parfait here. It used to be a parfait. This is, leftover stuff from last night. And it's not really, nice anymore. It's more so just like a drink now, like a fruit juice pretty much. But we're rocking with it. Yeah, it doesn't really work when it's just juicified. Whatever, it's gonna be fine. Snoopy is with us. Oh my god, actually, yeah, I need some juice to mitigate. There's the pure coriander on top. Whatever, you know what I mean. Sorry if I'm really unhinged right now. It's how I usually am. But anyway, I'm really hungry, and I'm going to dive into this butter chicken like I said. Then we'll get into the topic of our discussion today, Buddhism. And yeah, let's go. Oh yeah, look at that color. That's the real stuff right there. It's already getting cold. No. One of the main challenges I face when I make these videos is I can't, have excess sound. And I'm just in a little apartment, so I have to turn my heat off. That way there's no, heat noise that's super loud and irritating. My naan's also a little dry, because like I said, made it all last night. These are just leftovers. But I can't have the heat on because it's loud. And right now, it's winter. So it's not the most ideal for what I'm trying to do here because the food gets cold quick. But that's okay.
Also, I just remembered I'm trying to talk in my normal soft-spoken voice. Because why not? It's real good food when you just have whole chunks, whole cloves of garlic. Oh yeah, like a jewel of flavor. Oh, come on. Work with me, rice. Work with me. I just have like strings of onion in my rice, so they kind of flop around at times. And I know I shouldn't be using utensils for this. I should just be eating with one hand, with whatever bread I happen to have. But, as you know, I am M. Price, and the M in M. Price stands for mediocre. Why not? Also, my naan is dried out and doesn't really make the best spoon right now. But Buddhism. Buddhism is pretty good stuff. No, I'm not the most religious. I think I've outlined that I'm, a cosmicist, and I've kind of talked about my views in other videos. Usually my eating videos when I get those topics. But Buddhism is something that I can get behind, because to me it's less of like religious fanaticism and more so an outlook on life, and that's what I enjoy about it. Basically, and yes, now that I have all the... God, now I'm doubting myself. You know what? Don't worry about it. I'm just going to keep drinking it. But basically, there's a lot of different interpretations on how Buddhism goes, and everyone has their own spin on it, essentially. But what it kind of comes down to is there was a man who was very wealthy, very powerful, and he wasn't, fulfilled, so he gave it all up, and he lived poor, and he had an enlightenment, and he was rich again and poor again, and this sort of life, a very experienced life that led him to a conclusion that the true enjoyment of life comes from enlightenment, it comes from peace, it comes from a sort of oneness of being and all, and that you should live your life, full of joy, without any negative emotions, without any desire. Buddhism is where the noble truths come from, where people talk about, all suffering on earth comes from desire. If one can purge desire from themselves, they will find happiness and bliss, all of that. And I would go more into that. And I would explain more about what Buddhism, I guess, means, at least to me, or at least how I interpret it and how other people interpret it. But I'm not going to do that, because I think part of the point of Buddhism is not to do that. It's just to have your own interpretation, your own peace, your own tranquility, and to not care what other people think about it. It's very much on topic, on brand for a few of the other, things I've talked about on this channel. For me, at least. But I just think that for me to explain it to you and sort of dictate to you what it is to me and how I interpret it is almost unfair, because Buddhism is something you have to learn for yourself, and it's something you have to go through yourself so that you can reach your own sort of sense of enlightenment. So I brought a sort of novelization kind of Buddhism, how not necessarily how it started or how it goes, but a sort of novelization of it. Yeah, it would be a sort of novelization. It's kind of like a parallel thing where Buddha already exists in this, but the main character also kind of undergoes a Buddha-like journey. But I just picked out 3 sections in this that I'm just going to read for you. I'm not going to do much to explain what it means to me or any of that. I'm just going to let I really try. I'm just going to let you guys figure it out for yourselves, and maybe let me know what you think of it. But first, I need more butter chicken. I have to eat it while it's hot. Also while it's spicy, because I just lost my voice there because, oh my god, there's more authentic ingredients in this that I get from the local ethnic store, not just like what you get from your big supermarket. So like the real chili powder and kind of spices like that are in here. So sometimes it can kind of take your breath away. As well as, oh my god. As well as, just a fair warning if you do happen to make this for yourself, because the recipe will be in the description. You will have a fun time in the bathroom the next morning, because it does kind of run through you, and a nice little cleanse, you could say. But it's not like, oh my god, it's happening again. It's not like the Taco Bell nightmare cleanse. It's just like I actually feel good and happy cleanse. It's very positive. Alright, so the first section to me is sort of just like a basic rule of chillness, of being relaxed, of being cool, that Buddhism sort of applies. You did want to. Look, Kamala, when you throw a stone into water, it hurries the quickest way down to the bottom of the water. So it is when Siddhartha has a goal, a purpose. Siddhartha does nothing. He waits, he thinks, he fasts, but he passes through the things of the world as the stone passes through the water, without doing anything, without touching anything. He is pulled, he lets himself fall. His goal pulls him toward it, for he admits nothing into his soul that would resist the goal. This is what Siddhartha learned among the Shramanas. This is what fools call magic, and what they think of as the work of demons. Nothing is done by demons. There are no demons. Anyone can work magic. Anyone can reach his goals, if he can think, if he can wait, if he can fast. Obviously, we're not fasting, so maybe it means that I'm not able to reach my goals. But that's for me to decide, I suppose. And we got another clove of garlic. Oh, yeah. I am a garlic freak. And if you are also a fellow garlic freak, I recommend watching, was it Les Blank? Yeah, Les Blank. His documentary, Garlic is as Good as 10 Mothers. Good stuff. Let's mop up some of this butter sauce here with my naan. Also, if you do try to recreate the recipe and you don't have the exact, ingredients, because they're not available in your local area, don't sweat it. I mean, just do the best you can. As Marco Pierre White would say, there is no real recipe. And I mean, where I work, we have a butter chicken recipe that has none of this, and people still like it. A very Americanized version of it. It's fine. I mean, there's always ways to get around ingredient limitations. For instance, if you can't, say, get the Kashmiri, Indian chili powder, you can always use cayenne pepper. That's pretty good too. You might want to, season it to taste very much with however you feel. And if you can't get garam masala, you could always, make your own, or really just cinnamon. Just a lot of cinnamon will work. Cinnamon, cardamom, coriander, cumin, cloves, all that stuff is good in Indian food. Break apart some of my naan. We have hit the official room temperature count, at least with the naan, not with the butter chicken yet. But yes, I will admit, I am going a little bit faster this video because I really like my butter chicken and I really don't want to miss it, being warm and tasty. And some more garlic, yeah. By the way, how many Buddhists do I have in the audience, I suppose? Do I have religious demographics on my channel yet? I suppose I don't. I only have like 200 subscribers at the time of filming, at least I kind of do these ahead of time. At least these ones now, because I'm moving. I'm not going to have time while I move into to film these. But yeah, any Buddhists in the crowd, I suppose. All right, section 2. This is more of like the oneness that I talked about. But I'm not going to talk about it anymore because it's your job to figure it out, not mine. Yes, Siddhartha, he said. But do you not mean that the river is everywhere at once, at its origin and at its mouth, at the waterfall, at the ferry, at the rapids, in the sea, in the mountains, everywhere at the same time, and for it only the present exists, no shadow of the past, no shadow of the future? That is it, said Siddhartha. And when I learned that, I took a look at my life and saw that it too was a river. And the boy Siddhartha was separated from the man Siddhartha and from the grey-beard Siddhartha only by shadows, not by anything real. And there was no past for Siddhartha's earlier births, and his death and his return to Brahma are without future. Nothing was, nothing will be, everything is, everything has essence, is present. Let me say that again. Everything is, everything has essence, is present. Yeah. Good stuff. Huh. It's getting so dark so early by where I live. Maybe, hopefully the new place will have a, I don't know, better natural light. I am dangerously close. On the room temperature alert for the butter chicken. So I'm just going to finish it up and then I'll read my final section, which is actually a bit lengthy. So that'll be good for us. Also, as a quick and important side note, citing Anthony Bourdain here, the late great Anthony Bourdain, don't worry about Indian food. Like, if you're hesitant to try it, don't be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid about. You are not going to get sick from it. You are more likely to get sick from Indian food from a McDonald's than you're going to get sick from, like an Indian restaurant or trying an Indian recipe, There's no need for the huge stigma that is usually against it. It is delicious food, and there's so much history behind it, and it's just amazing. Also, M. Price would be very sad because Indian food is M. Price's favorite. It really is finger licking good. Coming at you, KFC.
Watch my KFC video. Oh yeah.
And the fenugreek, ah. Okay, it's time for the last section. I'll let you make of it what you will.
This is good too.
Are you ready? Siddhartha spoke. I have had thoughts, yes, and insights ever and always. Sometimes for an hour or for a day, I have felt knowledge within me, just as one feels life within his heart. There were many thoughts, but it would be difficult for me to convey them. You see, my Govinda, here is one of the thoughts I have found. Wisdom cannot be conveyed. The wisdom a sage attempts to convey always sounds like folly. Are you joking? Govinda asked. I am not joking. I am telling you what I have found. One can convey knowledge, but not wisdom. One can find wisdom, one can live it, one can be born by it, one can work wonders with it, but one can neither speak it nor teach it. This is what at times I surmised even in my youth, what drove me away from my teachers. I have discovered a thought, Govinda, which again you will take as a joke or as folly, but which is my finest. The opposite of every truth is equally true. To wit, a truth always allows itself to be expressed and wrapped in words when it is unilateral. Everything that can be thought with thoughts and said with words is unilateral. Every one-sided, a moiety, everything lacks wholeness, roundness, unity. When the exalted Gautama, teaching, spoke of the world, he had to divide into samsara and nirvana, into illusion and truth, into suffering and release. One can do nothing else. There is no other way for the one who wants to teach. But the world itself, that which exists around us and inside us, is never unilateral. Never is a man or a deed wholly samsara or wholly nirvana. Never is a person entirely saintly or entirely sinful. It only seems so because we are subject to the illusion that time is something real. Time is not real, Govinda. I have experienced this often, very often. And if time is not real, then the span that seems to lie between world and eternity, between suffering and bliss, between evil and good, also is an illusion. This sort of conversation between those two goes on for a while, and then it ends with this, when Siddhartha is changing before his friend's eyes, and his friend thinks this. He no longer saw the face of his friend Siddhartha. Instead, he saw other faces, many, a long series, a streaming river of faces, of hundreds, thousands, all of which came and went past, and yet all of which simultaneously appeared to be there, all of which continually transformed and renewed themselves, and yet all of which were Siddhartha. He saw the face of a fish, of a carp, with the mouth opened in infinite pain, of a dying fish, its eyes clouding over. He saw the face of a newborn child, red and full of creases, contorted with weeping. He saw the face of a murderer, saw him stick a knife into the body of another man. He saw, at the same moment, the same criminal kneel in chains, and saw his head hewn off by a single stroke of the executioner's sword. He saw the naked bodies of men and women in postures and battles of raging love. He saw corpses laid out, still, cold, empty. He saw heads of animals, of boars, crocodiles, elephants, of bulls, of birds. He saw gods, Krishna, Agni. He saw all these figures and faces together in thousands of relationships to one another, each one helping the other, loving, hating, destroying, giving birth anew. Each one was a death wish, a passionate, painful acknowledgement of transience, and yet not one died. Each one simply metamorphosed, was continually born anew, always got a new face, without any time elapsing between faces. And all these figures and faces rested, flowed, engendered themselves, swam away and streamed to one another, and over them all there was a constantly something thin, insubstantial, and yet something present, drawn out thin like a piece of glass or ice, like a transparent hide, a shell or form or mask of water. And this mask smiled, and this mask was Siddhartha's smiling face, which he, Govinda, at this very same moment touched with his lips. And so Govinda saw the smile of the mask, the smile of unity above the streaming forms, the smile of simultaneity above the 1,000 births and deaths. The smile of Siddhartha's was exactly the same, tranquil, fine, impenetrable, perhaps benevolent, perhaps scornful, wise, thousandfold smile of Gautama, of the Buddha, as he himself had beheld it with awe hundreds of times. This Govinda knew was how the Perfect One smiled. Yeah, what do you think about that? I'll finish my little drink here. I can feel the raspberry seeds entering my teeth. Nice. But it's okay, because I am the raspberry seed. And I want to leave you with a koan. Koan, K-O-A-N. Kind of like a riddle, like a Buddhist riddle. And if you know the answer to it, let me know down below. But don't don't Google the answer, because that's not fair. But if you are walking along the road and you meet Buddha, what do you do? If you are walking along the road and you meet Buddha, what do you do? You kill him. And that's not really the answer. The answer is what it means. So let me know what it means. You're walking down the road, you meet Buddha. What do? You kill him. Why do we kill Buddha? Can't we just kill him Price instead? That'd be a lot easier. But anyway, that's my shtick for today. I hope this video was good for you guys. I hope you found something from it. I know I went a lot faster than I usually do, and it was worth it, even if the video isn't as good, because it's about the butter chicken, man. It's not about the content. It's about the food, which is my kind of content. Anyway, I'll play it out. You have been watching M. Price Can Eat, a subsidiary company of M. Price Can Read. I am, of course, M. Price. And as you know, Dog City never sleeps. I hope that you may sleep and reach enlightenment now.